And the US government has changed its mind so many times that we may never know the truth. But what is certain is that UFO sightings in America were about to reach epidemic proportions. Not just in New Mexico, but over the skies of the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. They caused such panic that President Truman was forced to speak about them publicly. In a few short years, UFOs had reached the highest office in the land.
Oh yes, we discussed it at every conference that we had with the military. There's always things like that going on. Flying saucers, and they've had other things, you know, if I'm not mistaken.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war? And your children. I couldn't help at one point in my discussions privately with General Secretary Gorbachev, when you stop to think that we're all God's children wherever we may live in the world, I couldn't help but say to him, just think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held if suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet, outside in the universe. We'd forget all the little local differences that we have between our countries, and we would find out once and for all that we really are all human beings here on this earth together.
I got a letter from 13-year-old Ryan from Belfast. Now, Ryan, if you're out in the crowd tonight, here's the answer to your question. No. As far as I know, an alien spacecraft did not crash in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. And Ryan, if the United States Air Force did recover alien bodies, they didn't tell me about it either, and I want to know.
The godmother of your daughter, Shirley MacLaine, writes in her new book that you sighted a UFO over her home in Washington State. Did you see a UFO?
I did, and the rest of the account, I didn't. It was unidentified flying object. Okay, it's like it's unidentified. I saw something.
You know, also at this debate earlier this week, there was a bit of a humorous moment when Congressman Dennis Kucinich said that he had seen a UFO, but that's something that you're intimately familiar with yourself.
Well, a UFO is an unidentified flying object, and when I was back as a peanut farmer and the head of a Lions clubs in the southwest Georgia, I and about 25 others saw something in the air that changed colors and was round and came and left. We couldn't figure out what it was. It was unidentified as far as we were concerned, but I think it's impossible, in my opinion, some people disagree, to have space people from other planets or other stars to come in this. I don't think that's possible.
Well, it's certainly proof, though, Mr. President, that you can see a UFO and go on to become president of the United States. So maybe it's not over for Congressman Kucinich yet.